All right, well, hello to wherever it is that I upload this. I'm not even sure if this is going to be a podcast or a video, and this is just a voiceover for that video, or both. I don't know if I'm going to do both because I've been considering for quite some time now to start a sort of podcast. Now, the problem there is that I'm not sure what the theme of the podcast would be. I just want to talk about whatever's on my mind at that time. And I don't know if that would appeal to a lot of people. Mostly because most people on the internet don't know me. Or let's just say the vast majority of the people don't know who the fuck I am. So um, the probability of somebody tuning into this podcast or, tuning into a random podcast, I think is way lower than somebody maybe finding this on YouTube as an art video and just hearing this in the background. So, I think I'm gonna lean towards what I already know how to do or what I've done before, which is just accompanying this audio with some art related content and just start from there. And I don't know, maybe this will become a podcast. Maybe this is the pilot episode or whatever. At least that's how I've been planning it. I realized that if I wanted to do something like a podcast or anything, I would first have to sort of introduce myself to whoever it is that tunes in and starts listening to this via video or, just audio. So I thought that I would, I don't know, present myself. Present? Is that how you would say it in English? Introduce myself to whoever it is that finds this. So my name is Paula, although I think that a lot of people know me on the internet as Puali. And what better way to learn about a person or know a person better than through the music that they listen to, what sort of music they listen to. So, as I'm pretty sure a lot of you know, Spotify does this thing at the end of every year where they basically give you stats on the music that you listened throughout the year and tell you which one was your favorite artist, your top songs, and everything. Gives you all the cool statistics. So I thought it'd be cool to, I've been wanting to because I have a tendency of oversharing. I've been wanting to go over those with whoever's willing to listen to me and explain why certain songs made it to the top of my list, why a certain artist was my favorite, based on my Spotify listens, because I also listen to music through iTunes or Apple Music, however it's called. I'm just outing myself there, maybe just zoning into what my actual age is or something. This has been a long introduction, so I'm just gonna we're just gonna go through my 2020 Wrapped, or how's it the actual your top songs 2020, and I think it's also called 2020 Wrapped. Yeah, that iTunes made a sort of story, like an Instagram story, but I was kind of annoyed that I couldn't actually share the actual animations that Spotify made, which were really cool. It was really interesting to see the contrasting artists that I have on my Spotify library just be merged and do this sort of kaleidoscope animation with one another. Like, it's really funny to see like Corpse mixed with EXO mixed with Shakira. And that's just the start of it. That's what we're gonna be dealing with, yes, because I basically listen to anything. It really just depends on my mood, as you're about to see. So let's just get into that. I'm gonna search up your top songs 2020 by Spotify on my phone, and we're just gonna go. I think I'm gonna go a bit more in depth with the first five, which are the ones that like Spotify actually shows, and then we're gonna go a bit over the ones that didn't make it to the top five, but I think are still pretty significant and say a lot about my year. So, first on the list, it's already a pretty embarrassing song to have to admit to have been listening to a lot. The first song is If You Love Somebody, Set Them Free by Sting. um, yeah, I think I started listening to this one. First of all, it's not uh it's not the first time that I hear from this artist. My parents used to listen to that song, or they still do, but it's one of my parents' favorite artists. They obviously grew up listening to Sting and the Police, so I know about Sting through them. And I basically grew up listening to his music and music similar or in that genre as well. But I didn't have it saved to my Spotify playlist. The vast majority of the music that I used to listen to prior to Spotify, I do not have saved on Spotify. Mostly because it's tedious work, and also because I think that a lot of the music that I like aren't typical or are not that popular, I guess. I obviously Sting is pretty popular, but what I mean is it's just music that's pretty obscure, I'd say. Although I have been seeing similar music, like Japanese music, that's been surfacing on Spotify, but it's kind of hard to find. And that's the sort of music that I like personally, and that I can't really find that easily on Spotify. But anyways, going back to Sting and the song, I mostly started listening to this one at the start of the year. Um, the start of 2020 for me was, I want to say it was a roller coaster, but 2020 as a whole has been a roller coaster. But for me especially, it was a love life roller coaster, basically. um, I found this song in a classics playlist, and I realized that a lot of the songs on that playlist were helping me cope with heartbreak and stuff similar to that. Um, it's kind of hard to talk about this. Obviously, I'm over it right now. I'm over it by now. But just seeing this song at the top of my playlist when I first saw my 2020 Wrapped was kind of jarring, because the start of the year was very, very hard for me, and it just made me remember how shitty 2019 was for me as well. Because uh basically the start of 2020 and my heartbreak was the result of what happened to me in 2019. So you can already understand how shitty I was starting 2020. So it was so much so that the lockdown at the, I would say, mid-March or something, it came as a welcome reprieve and break for me. Um, so yeah, I was listening to this song in particular a lot, particularly on my way to work. And yeah, along with a few others that I'll mention, they were just helping me get through this. Alright, so I'm gonna leave it at that because I think I have a few other songs that are related to that time. But that basically describes the first few months of 2020 for me. Now, this next song is, okay, we're already gonna see how all over the place my music taste is. The next song is A Little Party Never Killed Nobody by Fergie, Q-Tip, and Goonrock. I think the complete title is A Little Party Never Killed Nobody, and in parentheses it says All We Got. I think it's a song from the movie adaptation of The Great Gatsby. I never saw that song. I never saw that movie. which makes this all the more hilarious because I found this song on Twitter and it was the background music for a Haikyuu fan animation. It was, for those who don't know, Haikyuu, volleyball anime, and this was basically one of the volleyball teams, specifically Oikawa's team, just dancing to the beat of this song. And I liked it so much, I was basically mesmerized by how well and how fluid the animation was, and just how well it synced to this song. So much so that I went through the replies and I frantically looked up the title and saved the song. And this was a song that I started listening to on repeat as I worked on my comics and art and everything. So from this, you guys can conclude that one, I'm a weeb, okay? I watch a lot of anime. I follow a lot of artists that are related to the content that I like, which is anime. I also like, I'm just gonna out myself here. I also like a bunch of Korean dramas, so that's the sort of thing that I like watching. And I'm very invested in, I wouldn't say fandoms, I just like, consuming content that's related to that. I don't think I'm that closely related to any fandom anymore. I just dip my toes in a lot of fandoms at the same time, but I don't get too involved with anything. I used to, but I don't anymore. But I really like looking at fan art. And this, I would say that I like Haikyuu, but I'm not as interested in it as I was before. But this just randomly popped up on my Twitter feed, and it's honestly one of my favorite pieces of media, fan art, that I've seen this year. So the fact that this song made it to my top 5 is ridiculous, and it just shows how I obsess. Oh, notifications. It just shows how I obsess over songs. When I find a song that I really, really like, I listen to it until I'm tired of it, and then I still listen to it even when I'm tired of it. I especially like to listen to music when I'm trying to work. I can't work within quiet environments. I have to be listening to something. I'm either listening to something or watching something at the same time, but I can't sit still long enough in order to actually work in a quote unquote peaceful environment. So if it's music like this, then you're pretty, I can be certain that I would be listening to it as I work and as I create. I draw and I make comics, for those of you that don't know, and since this is supposed to be an introductory video, I don't know how well I'm doing that, but regardless, I will put that out there. Okay, number 3 and 4 in my top 5 are basically by the same artist. I found this. So the previous one, the Fergie song, I think I discovered it during quarantine. I would say like midsummer, maybe. But then the third and fourth I discovered, I would say late September / October. I give you these time frames so you could understand. I think these songs sort of set the mood for my 2020 and how it's been going. So the second song basically displays how I spent my quarantine, which is getting back to what I really liked, which is being creative and making art. 2019 didn't give me the chance to actually be as creative as I wanted, mostly because of the full-time job that I got during that year. It basically deprived me of any free time whatsoever. Most of the time I was too tired to even work on anything. So 2019 was pretty bleak. And that's a lot to say based on how 2020 was going. 2020 has been a hard year, but if there's anything to take from it, at least for me personally, is that I was able to rediscover what I liked doing. And it made me realize that I wasn't going down the path that I wanted to go during 2019. And I need to find like a sort of balance between maybe work and being creative, or just, finding something that lets me be as creative as I want. It's a tough thing to balance, and I'm still figuring it out. But at the very least, 2020 has given me that time for me to try and figure that out. So yeah. Sorry, I kind of went back to number 2. Moving on to 3 and 4. I've discovered these during late September, early October, and they basically set the mood. I'm basically still hung up with these songs. They're by the same artist. They're called White Tea. So, the titles of the songs are White Tea and E-Girls Are Ruining My Life. They're both by Corpse, although E-Girls Are Ruining My Life also features the artist Savage Gasp. I'm terrible at reading and trying to whatever. So anyways, these 2 songs I basically discovered thanks to going down the rabbit hole that is streamers, I'd say. I basically discovered Corpse, and although I guess Corpse isn't a streamer, but I discovered Corpse as well as streamers like Valkyrie and Saikuno and a bunch of other awesome creators thanks to a video game called Among Us. I'm sure you guys know which video game that is, and I'm sure you guys know who I'm talking about. But basically, thanks to that Among Us crazed, I found a bunch of cool creators. Among those was Corpse, and the fact that he makes music and creates a lot of different types of content. Like, a bunch of people discovered him through this, but he was already popular before that. I didn't know about him at all, and I'm really thankful to have discovered him this year. Not only because of his music, but as I said, I discovered a bunch of cool content creators during these months, and they seriously helped me. Like, as I said, I need to be not, I wouldn't say distracted, but I like watching stuff as I work or listening to something, and the fact that I hadn't even considered the watching streams as I worked is, I don't know. Don't judge me. So yeah, I basically have to thank this Among Us craze for letting me, find a new sort of media to consume as I work on my own stuff. And I gotta say that it's thanks to these streams and, finding cool content creators that I've been able to pull through these last few months, because I don't know, the start of quarantine was okay for me. At least I was able to reconnect with what I like doing. It obviously got tiresome after a while. I sort of recovered from that, but these past few months, or I don't know if I should say months or weeks, but I've been struggling a lot with motivation as of late. So even though I'm still working and being creative and stuff, it's been hard to actually keep that up. So while I've been disconnected or just trying to rekindle that motivation, I've been watching a lot of streams and just, I don't know, feeling a lot, I would say, I guess, less lonely while I watch these streams. Like, they're comforting to watch. I mean, just seeing other people have fun. That sounds kind of creepy. I just mean, like, I don't know. They've kept me going. They've made me laugh quite a few times when I've been having a bad day, and for that alone, I'm very grateful. So yeah, thanks to those streams, I discovered Corpse, particularly, and then I realized, or then I learned that he did music, and that's a whole other rabbit hole. I basically had his music on repeat during the month of October, and as you can see, the result of that is that he's taking up 2 spots on my top 5 2020 wrapped or top songs or whatever. So that's a lot to say. That just proves how much I've been, not, I wouldn't say, should I say obsessing? Not so much. That just means that I've literally had all his music on repeat. Because as I said earlier, when I discover music or something that I really like, I'll listen to it until I'm tired of it, and I'm still not tired of it. So I'm just getting started, honestly. I'm really excited to see what other type of music he releases. I think that if he had released his latest song called Agoraphobic on Spotify or something, because he only released it on iTunes and I think SoundCloud, if he had released that on Spotify, it probably would be on the top, because I think it's one of my favorites from him. I really like all his songs up until now, but Agoraphobic hit differently. It's a lot different from his usual music. And honestly, he released it right when I was starting to get those bleak day, right when I was starting to wake up to another day of no motivation, and I just saw, like, I had a very bleak outlook on everything. So the fact that that song came out right as I was feeling that way is, I was like, shit, I feel this on a whole other level. So that's that. I would include that one on one of my, if this was based on, if I could make like a playlist of actual songs that I think are my personal favorites, not just because I listen to them a lot, that song would be included. I don't know if I should do that, because obviously a lot of songs are going to coincide with the ones that I had on repeat. But anyways, the last song on my top 5 at least is Carry On Wayward Son. Carry On Wayward Son, not song, Jesus, by Kansas. I think I mentioned this earlier, but this one was also a song that was on the oldies playlist, or the classics playlist, that I started listening to, the one that had the Sting song. Yeah, along with Sting and this song by Kansas, there were a few other songs that helped me pull through at the start of the year. Although this song has been helping me cope, not only this year, but the previous years as well. It's a personal favorite of mine, just because it's one of those songs that was on Supernatural, and Supernatural was one of my favorite shows while I was in college. Not so much now. I never finished the series. I know it finished recently, and I saw a bunch of spoilers on it. I won't get into that because I was just speechless of how they dealt with things. It's a shame. I really loved that series. And for those, obviously, that have seen the show, obviously know that Carry On Wayward Son is just a fan favorite, a fan classic, one of the staples for that show, I guess. So yeah, this doesn't actually, it's not only about, uh, for me at least, it wasn't just about the heartbreak that I was feeling at the start of that year. That was then the only thing that was keeping me down and making me struggle. It was just my job in general. I was just tired. I was constantly in a bad mood. I wasn't even doing my job right, okay? I had just, lost all motivation for the job that I was doing. And this was just one of those songs that I played to try, like, to try and get motivated every day on my way to work. But it just every day felt so monotonous. The things that I was working on didn't spark any joy anymore. And on top of all that, my personal life was crap. So I'd be lying if I said that I did not listen, that I did not cry while I listened to this song, as I try to pull myself together every day. Yeah. Shit. Getting real personal here. So those are the top 5 songs. Let me see. I think I should just keep going with the next songs that I have on my list, because obviously top 5 are the songs that I showed, that Spotify shows you as, oh, those are your top. But like, there's a few other songs on the playlist that I remember and I can pick out from the rest as songs, and like I can identify them with certain points in the year. So I'm gonna keep going with this. And like I said, this is a sort of episode for you guys to learn a bit more about me. Episode, as if this is a series already. This is just like a trial episode to see how comfortable I am just talking about myself. And mostly just to give me the space to talk about myself, because seeing as how 2020 has gone, I don't see this clearing up anytime soon, at least not in my country. So I won't be able to see friends anytime soon. And also, I just feel like I don't want to burden anybody just talking. Like, nobody's my psychiatrist. Maybe I should get a psychiatrist so I can just talk and talk and talk all I want about myself, and not feel guilty about it because they're getting paid. Okay, that's a tangent. I won't say that. I won't keep going. Oh, so before I keep going with the top songs, maybe I'll do top 10. I would like to mention that there are 2 artists that are basically not included, and this is why I think that this is not as accurate. The Spotify rap thing is not as accurate for me, because I do listen to music outside of Spotify, whether it's music that I just had saved on my computer prior to Spotify, so it's like very old music that I still like, and also music that I've bought because I still use Apple Music. And if it's like an artist that I really like a personal favorite, then I go out of my way to actually buy the albums. I used to buy them physically, but most computers don't have CD players anymore. So again, outing myself and just pinpointing my age here. So I actually just buy the albums instead. The 2 artists that I like to mention, because they are two of my personal favorites, and artists that should be included in my 2020 rap, because they did take up a large portion of the time I spent listening to music, are Bad Bunny and Gorillaz. Now, for those of you that know me personally, you guys know that I'm an all-time fan of Gorillaz. I've been listening to them, I'd say like late high school, senior year, and then all across my college years. You guys know that I basically have a Gorillaz t-shirt collection that I would just cycle through during college. I think it got to a point where people actually noticed that that's the only type of t-shirt that are used. Embarrassing, I know. But yeah, that's what we're dealing with here. And then Bad Bunny is just an artist, a local favorite that I got into thanks to my sisters, who liked his music a lot, and I started listening to them, and it's like, hey, yeah, I dig this. I can jam to this. So those 2 artists are basically not on my Spotify, because I went out of my way to buy the album so I can listen to them wherever I want. I know I can do that with Spotify as well. This is an ongoing argument with one of my siblings. I know we can have an in-depth discussion about this, but I will not get into it. Um, maybe I should. So yeah, Bad Bunny and Gorillaz. Gorillaz released a album this year, or they've been releasing music throughout the year, for Song Machine, and I just have to say that most, if not all, of the songs that are included in that album are favorites for me. Like those would go on the top, on my personal top song playlist, like my top 2020 songs if they were released this year, I guess. Then I would basically include the whole Song Machine album. I'll mention a few. Momentary Bliss was like released at the start of the year. I love that song to death. Personal favorite. Desolate is also a song that I have conflicting feelings over. I will not get into that one. I love it. I love the song, but when you remember, or you listen to a song and you remember to a certain point or certain event that happened as that song played, yeah, it's one of those songs, and I hate that I hate that I associate that song with that moment, because it just ruins the song for me. But it's a favorite, I gotta say. The others that were released with the full album again, I think, were With Love to an Ex, Valley of the Pagans, Dead Butterflies. Well, Pac-Man was released before the full album release. But those are basically the whole album, okay? If I would have to mention songs that I didn't like from Momentary Bliss, I would just have to say How Far and Opium. Those are my least favorites, I guess. But yeah, really, those songs have been being released throughout the whole year. And as soon as one was released, I went and bought it and listened to it over and over and over on repeat until the next song was released. So it was that sort of thing. I have a few saved to Spotify, but I mostly listen to it offline on my phone. So the other artist I mentioned, Bad Bunny. I would say that songs that I had on repeat during 2020, he released like 3 albums this year, right? He first released Yo hago lo que me da la gana, then he released La que no iban a salir, and then he released one the other day. I think it was called El Último Tour del Mundo. I'm not sure about the last one. I haven't listened to I'll be frank, I haven't listened to the last album as much. I only listened to it once or twice, and I gotta say, it's not one of my favorites. Again, a very controversial statement, but Yo hago lo que me da la gana and La que no iban a salir, those, I gotta say, have a lot of songs that I jam to and I related to too much. If I do have to mention songs that I had on repeat / songs that I loved to death during this year, it's gotta be obviously Zafaera, A Tu Merced, and By Me Fui. Those are the songs that I can remember right away by title, and those are the songs that I can single out of the 3 albums that he released this year that have been on repeat for me and have not so much personally. Well, I guess que By Me Fui is one that like touched me personally, but for the other 2, it's just like, yeah, these are jams, and they're songs that I listened to as I worked a lot. For Yo hago lo que me da la gana, that whole album, I just listen to it on constant repeat as I'm trying to psych myself up for work. So if I had to pick a favorite album out of the 3 he released this year, it'd be that one. For sure, hands down, definitely my favorite. So those 2, Gorillaz and Bad Bunny, are basically favorite artists for me. And I haven't even got into the artist that Spotify said was my top artist of the year. I'll just say it because it's so fucking funny. Those are my favorite artists. The artist that Spotify said that I listened to the most this year was it was Shakira. So imagine my surprise when I'm watching the 2020 Wrapped story and Shakira comes up as my top artist. Listen, Shakira was the artist that I admittedly listened the most while I was trying to get over my heartbreak. Like I started listening to that oldies playlist, but then I rediscovered Shakira. It's it's surprising, I know, but Shakira was the one that got me through my my first I want to say like 1 or 3 months of 2020. It's ridiculous, but I gotta give it to her. She did help me a lot. Uh, so Gorillaz and Bad Bunny are just all time favorites, but you know, I'll give it to Shakira. She's the one that helped me the most out in 2020. All right, God, I went on a tangent there. I think that'll happen a lot if I keep doing this. I still have time to keep on talking, so I think I'm gonna do what I was supposed to do before I started talking about Bad Bunny and Gorillaz, which was to keep going with the top songs based on Spotify. The other, so we had mentioned the first five. The sixth song was based on Spotify listens, was What I Like About You by the Romantics. Now that song's a song that I basically relate or associate. Yeah, it's a song that I associate the most with the characters from my webcomic Straight D's. There's another fact about me. I make a webcomic called Straight D's. I wouldn't say BL, but yeah, it's gay. So I started writing it as a BL, and then I would say it's just a romance comic because I don't think I follow through with the tropey BL antics. But yeah, it's on Tapas, and I'd say it's an LGBTQ romance webcomic. I've been working on it, I think, for around 2 or 3 years now. So, and well, this is a song that I relate to the most for the main characters in that comic. Not really, there's not really much behind it. I think I once thought about making a animation with this song, and the characters that I wanted to use for the animation were the main characters, Danny and Darwin from Straight D's. So every time I listen to it, it just makes me happy because I reimagine the animation that I had in mind. I don't even animate, but if I were to make an animation, it would be the animation that always comes to mind when I listen to the song. So, next song, the seventh song, it's here it is. It's Si Te Vas by Shakira. Yep. I basically saved a This Is Shakira playlist from Spotify, and I listened to that constantly. I would say mostly through February. Not gonna lie, guilty pleasure. I basically sang that a bunch of her songs as I worked. So much so that my coworkers noticed at the time. So yeah, it was bad. It was pretty bad. There's quite a few songs by Shakira on my whole playlist, I guess. She didn't make it to the top 5, but it's because I basically had all her songs on repeat. I won't get into that much more because I feel like I've said it enough about it. I think 8th song is, oh god, it's Mr. Mistopheles from the Cats musical. It's from the I don't know the actual year. The old, not the most recent movie adaptation version, but the older version. I can't the year cuts off, and I don't want to play the song obviously, but it's from the musical, not the movie adaptation that I admittedly went to watch, and this is how I spiraled into this. But I gotta say, I did jam to this, I will admit. This says a lot about my music taste, I guess. I do like musicals. I feel like I deny that fact a lot, but I do like them. I admittedly like them. And yeah, what more is there to say? This is my guilty pleasure listen of 2020, I guess. I never thought I would admit to liking this sort of music, but here I am. Number 9 is Barracuda by Heart. Another one in the oldies playlist that I listened to at the start. The other, I think this is 10, is Grease from Greece by Frankie Valli. Is that how you say it? I think I watched Grease at one point. I don't know if it was prior to quarantine or after quarantine, but we did rewatch, and I say we because with my younger sister we lived together. Anyways, so we watched Grease, and I don't think we had ever noticed the opening song because we mostly watch Grease. I think it was on Netflix now, but we mostly watch Grease on cable TV. So a lot of the times that we watched this movie, it was like we just caught it like mid movie, or we most of the time never saw the start of the movie, so we had never noticed this opening song. I think now it's like basically my favorite from the whole movie. I used to like a lot Grease Lightning, and the final number were my favorites, but this one takes a cake. It's just relatable, you know? Was that number 10? I think so. I'll do top 15, I guess. The other next song is Ciega Sordomuda from Shakira again. Been there, done that. Next. The next one is actually a song that I didn't discover this year, but I did have on repeat for quite some time because it was motivating me to actually work. And that's a tough thing to do right now for me. So it's Show Me by 4 Minute, a K-pop group that I think disbanded a few years ago. They were my queens, I will say that much. And this song, from their album Crazy, is great. If you haven't listened to their music, I highly recommend them. They were an all girls K-pop group, and I think they were my top favorite. 4 Minute and Sis Star, like a star, were my favorite girl groups, honestly. I think they both disbanded by now, but the next song is also a K-pop song. It's Call Me Baby by EXO. Again, I feel like this is a song that comes up and I just never skip it. It's not a personal favorite for this year. It just got in here because I listened to it a lot. The next song is Since You've Been Gone, but it's not the original version. It's the version that's sung in Pitch Perfect. See, is this proof that I like musicals? I like this song a lot. Pitch Perfect came out when I was still in high school, I think during my senior year. And I mostly like this version of the song because it makes me remember a moment in high school when I was driving with my friends. I think we had already finished classes, so it was on those last days of the semester where you basically don't have any classes anymore. And well, we were singing this song. We all liked that movie. We watched trashy movies. It was the only thing to do in a small town. Just go to the movies and watch whatever trash movie was in there. Although I admittedly like Pitch Perfect, okay? So I say trash movie because it's a general opinion, but I think Pitch Perfect is actually a really good movie. Unpopular opinion again. God. So anyways, I just remember me singing this song with my friends on the car, and I distinctly remember one of my friends hitting one of the high notes and everybody being super, super impressed by it. Even he was impressed by it. So it's just again, one of those songs, what I was saying earlier, one of those songs that has a deeper meaning to it because you associate it with a moment in your life. Well, in this case, it's a happy moment in my life. So that's why I listen to that song quite a lot. Not so much because of the meaning behind it, although admittedly, yes, I related to it at some point. But that's not why I listen to it constantly. See, I don't know if this is an accurate portrayal of what I like. Does this say enough about me? Do you guys have a better image of the type of person I am? Because personally, I feel that my music taste is just all over the place. Like, I don't think there's a pattern here, okay? I don't know if this gives you guys a better idea of who I am, or how my life is going. I think at the start, as I was recording this, I thought it might, but now I'm doubting myself. Now I don't know if this is like the best, the easiest way for me to introduce myself to those who don't know me as well. But so wrapping this up, Spotify Wrapped, get it? Anyways, wrapping this up, based on Spotify, my top artists of the year were Shakira, never gonna get over that, Gorillaz, oh hey, I thought they weren't included on this list, okay, Gorillaz, EXO, Lindsey Sterling, yeah, Lindsey Sterling, I like classical music, it makes me emotional, yet another thing, and last artist was Vixx, Vixx, another K-pop group. All-time favorite K-pop group, by the way. I miss them dearly. They helped me through college, and they helped me meet a lot of people during that time where I had no friends, basically. And then minutes listen is 41,139, and top genre was lo-fi beats. Because I like listening to Study Girl, lo-fi beats to chill to as you study, whatever. I like listening to that playlist a lot. So conclusions, I listen to any type of genre, honestly. It just depends on how I'm feeling, my mood on that day. I don't know if this is going to be entertaining for anybody to listen to. It's certainly it feels very liberating to just talk for close to an hour without any interruptions, because sometimes I just feel like I'm trapped in my head with all these thoughts, and I only convey like 30% of what I'm thinking if I don't overshare. I'm scared of oversharing, and I do that often. So I just thought that this was a good way for me to let it out and just talk it out with myself. If anybody, I don't know how well organized this was. Just let me know. Is this okay? Should I keep doing this? I think I'm gonna still do it. I'm just not sure about the medium that I should use, because I think I'm gonna upload this to YouTube with a art recording, or like a painting recording of me. But I don't know if I should just upload the audio somewhere as well. I don't know. Let me know. I'm figuring this out. I just thought, hey, I have a microphone with okay quality. Maybe I can just do this. I also don't know what else I should talk about, but I think that's the whole point of this. Like, I just need a place where I can talk about whatever is on my mind at the time. This one was a bit at least I had a theme. At the very least, I need to have a theme for each episode. I don't know. Let me know if you guys think this is okay. If you like this, if you want to hear more, I just want to know if it would be cool if I'm not the only one that likes this and that listens to this, because I'm gonna have to listen to this quite a lot for me to edit it. God, I don't want to edit this, but I'm not gonna upload a raw anything. But I don't want you guys to hear everything and those awkward silences in between. So I will edit this down. Yep, I have nothing more to say. I hope you guys like this, honestly. And I'll maybe be back with something else. It really just depends on how I'm feeling. But regardless, this was good talk. Good talk, me. Good talk. All right, I'm gonna go. I don't know what else to say.